The New York Rangers continue to make more moves, and this one's an interesting one as one player makes his return to the lineup. We're going to break that down, as well as multiple other updates from head coach Mike Sullivan and a very interesting quote from the captain JT Miller on how this team has been performing so far this season as we reach Thanksgiving, which a lot of teams look at as a benchmark for where the team is at and some decisions to come. So happy Thanksgiving, everyone. And before we get into everything, just a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. We've noticed that about 72% of you who watch these videos on the regular are not subscribed to the channel. So if you want to continue to stay up to date with everything that's happening with your New York Rangers, go down below, hit that free subscribe button. You get to stay up to date with everything that's happening with the Blue Shirts. But let's jump right into it. The Rangers have made multiple moves. And of course, we covered one a couple days ago, and we can start there with Juuso Parssinen being put on waivers. And there was a lot of talk about the Vancouver Canucks possibly claiming him. They wanted a center. Well, that didn't happen. As you can see here, he's been assigned to Hartford, and he's now down in the AHL. And the Rangers have a $100,000 cap penalty up against the cap now, which is not that bad in theory. They bury most of his cap, but still an interesting move. If you want more on that, go check out that video. The link will be in the description. But Connor Mackey was reassigned to the New York Rangers as a subsequent move. Now, there is some weird complications with roster sizes, roster moves. Players sometimes when they're sent down have to play at least one game in the AHL. Some weird stuff going on with that. So that's what happened with Scott Morrow and why they waited a second, because now, just a day later, Connor Mackey has been, and this was today, just this morning on Thanksgiving, has been reassigned to Hartford, and Scott Morrow has been reassigned to the New York Rangers. He's been called back up. So that does have implications on the lineup. Does he get back into a game this coming weekend? I think that could be very interesting. Does he take Matthew Robertson's spot? I know that Mike Sullivan's not the biggest fan of Scott Morrow. He hasn't been playing that much, and they're really not even utilizing him really on the power play that much, which is understandable if you are a team with Adam Fox. I get it. I totally understand that, but doesn't seem to be the biggest fan of Scott Morrow, but nonetheless, he has been recalled. He's back up on the main roster, and you can see this. This is who's in the press box right now. This is just on Puckpedia, obviously, in yesterday's game, and we'll get to that in a second because some interesting quotes came out after the game on that. You have Sheary back in the lineup, according to Puckpedia. He was out of the lineup. We had a video this morning about Connor Sheary. Lots going on with the Rangers, but if you look at the press box on Puckpedia, you have Scott Morrow back with the team and Brett Berard in the press box as well, which he should be in the lineup. And then if you look at the IR, obviously on LTIR, Matt Rempe, he's been out for a while at this point. No really update on Matt Rempe as well. So we're going to have to stay tuned for that, because I'm sure something on that's coming soon. But obviously, Quick is injured. You got Dylan Grand up with the team right now as well. And Will Borgen, I wonder if there's some weird stuff going on with that injury as well, if it's maybe worse than we were led to believe at this point. So seemed like it was going to be a day-to-day thing, maybe out for a week, something like that. But I don't know. He could be out a little bit longer term, and Scott Morrow is back up with the team at this point. Now, to move on to what's been happening lately with the New York Rangers, they've won 2 games in a row. And you can see this. The Rangers with Gabe Perreault in the lineup this year, although Gabe Perreault didn't do too much, 3-0-0. The Rangers with Brett Berard in the lineup this season, 2-0-0. And obviously, Brett Berard was in the lineup last night. Connor Sheary was not in the lineup for the first time. And the Rangers are also 1-0 without Connor Sheary in the lineup so far this season. So pretty interesting. All we're noticing on the channel. I'm not going to say anything definitively, but we notice here at Rangers Digest. We'll see how this continues. Not going to make any final decisions or judgment calls here, but we are noticing a certain trend with a few different players on the roster this year. So obviously their play with Gabe Perreault, it was great a couple weeks ago. Brett Berard should be on this team. I've talked about it in multiple videos at this point. A lot of people argue maybe he doesn't produce as many points as you'd like. Did he really earn the spot? If you watch him play, he's earned a spot in my eyes. You know exactly what he brings to a lineup every single time he is out there. You know what you're getting out of this player. And that's literally what the National Hockey League is. You need all the guys to be contributing and doing what they do best. And that's what he does. He comes up and he is unapologetically Brett Berard all the time. He's hunting pucks. He's physical. I know he's a little bit smaller or on the smaller side, but he uses his speed to his advantage. All of those things, he's great. And you can see last night, that third line, I want to give a shout out to Cruiser for this comment this morning. Brodzinski, Laba got a goal. He looked great, and Berard on that line. They look fantastic. That looked like a dangerous third line, like a line that could create. They're pretty responsible defensively. All of them, honestly. Like, I don't think they're a liability, really. I thought they looked good as a third line. So, have to give credit where credit is due. Last night, they were fantastic. Let's give a shout out to Igor Shesterkin as well. Some big saves at the end, getting outshot by Carolina pretty heavily in this game as well. So shout out to Igor Shesterkin. Noah Laba, who I just mentioned, is the first New York Rangers forward to score his first NHL goals, or 4 NHL goals on the road since Derek Stefan, excuse me. So that's great company as well. New York Rangers legend, of course. And then you go along everything that happened yesterday. 2-game winning streak, right? If you even want to call it a streak, back-to-back wins. The boys were hyped for Cooley's empty netter. They were just giving it to him along the bench as well. So that was fantastic to see. Vibes seem pretty high in that regard. A lot of good stuff going on with the New York Rangers. I mean, Noah Aspinall, who's down there in the OHL playing for the Flint Firebirds, has 21 points in his last 10 games. He is absolutely ripping it up right now. Lots to like, and you can see this, a gutsy win for the New York Rangers in their last game. Carolina doubled their shots. This is from Vince Mercogliano. Had a better run of possession and controlled the play for stretches, but the Rangers got big plays from key players like Noah Laba, for example. Your goaltender was great. Not an easy way to win, but that's what it's going to take for them most nights. And if you can squeak out some wins like this, playing this system, and you can at least finish on your chances, which has been almost impossible for this team to do so far this season, you will be okay. I did want to get into this quote from JT Miller after the game last night. And he had 2 of them. I want to get into this one first. And he was talking about his return to the lineup because, of course, he's been out with an injury. And he was day-to-day. He missed a couple games there. So he said he's feeling pretty good. Definitely tried to keep myself out of certain situations. But I think for the most part, I felt pretty good. Felt like I could contribute without being taken too much away from my game. Now, he didn't have the strongest game. I can recognize that, and I think a lot of people were talking about that already. I thought this was another interesting quote from JT Miller post-game, and he kind of just went into how they did have some breakdowns. Shesterkin played amazing. He didn't think the team was at their best, but they found a way to win, and I thought our third was our best period. So you want to close the game with your best effort, of course, and, you know, some nights you're not going to be on top of your game, but you have to find a way to win, and that's kind of what I'm talking about with guys like Brett Berard, where you find a way to get it done. You bring certain things to the lineup, and you bring them to the lineup consistently, and good things will happen eventually, right? So that's kind of the point I've been making with a guy like Brett Berard. And feel free to pause and read this as well. Another interesting quote from Mike Sullivan. He said, you know, he's had experiences where it's been the opposite, where teams have been out of the playoffs and ended up winning championships. And of course, he's addressing how, you know, a lot of people talk about, and we've talked about it on the channel, where if you're out of a playoff spot at Thanksgiving, you're in tough. It's not always the case. About, you know, almost 70% of teams who are in a playoff spot every year at Thanksgiving make the playoffs. So, you know, you still have a 30% chance to make it. Flip the script a little bit. So, you know, feel free to pause and read the rest of the quote. But he said, you know, he feels like the team is getting better with each game. Of course, you're never going to have your best game every single game. There's going to be some stinkers along the way. But the new system that they're playing, you know, it's generating chances. I feel like they're obviously better, at least than last year defensively. You need your goaltending to be sharp, which Jonathan Quick has every performance. Igor's had some tough games, of course, but he has come up with big performances like last night. And if they can continue to finish, if they can put the puck in the back of the net, which has been the problem all year, this team, I think, will be okay in a very weak Eastern Conference this year. So let me know how you feel about the team's performance as of late. Let me know how you feel about the moves that have been made. Parsonen's down in the AHL now, didn't get claimed off waivers. Mackey's down in the AHL as well. And Scott Morrow back with the New York Rangers. Let me know how you feel in the comments below. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.